You took out a full-page ad in major U.S. newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
The way in which we think about the United States as world power needs to change. The United States no longer has the same capacity to run the world that it used to.
Basically, that America's broke. It's broke socially, it's broke politically, it's divided against itself, the politics don't work, the Constitution prevents people taking decisions. After the Cold War, it seemed as if America was on top of the world, dominant power, the unipolar moment was there. After the 10 years since then, people have been talking quite the opposite. America's on the way down since the War on Terror, since the 2008 crash, and since the rise of China.
What concerns me right now is the loss of usable power. That is, that what is happening inside the United States politically is having an effect on the United States, on the country's ability to translate that raw power into influence.
Politicians are all talk, no action. Nothing's going to get done. They will not bring us, believe me, to the promised land. I hear their speeches, and they don't talk jobs, and they don't talk China. When was the last time you heard China's killing us? They're devaluing their currency to a level that you wouldn't believe. It makes it impossible for our companies to compete. I watch the speeches of these people, and they say, the sun will rise, the moon will set, all sorts of wonderful things will happen, and people are saying, what's going on? I just want a job. Just get me a job. I don't need the rhetoric, I want a job. Obamacare kicks in 2016. Really big league. It is going to be amazingly destructive. Doctors are quitting. I have a friend who's a doctor, and he said to me the other day, Donald, I never saw anything like it. I have more accountants than I have nurses. It's a disaster. My patients are beside themselves. They had a plan that was good. They have no plan now. We need a leader that can bring back our jobs, can bring back our manufacturing, can bring back our military, can take care of our vets. Our vets have been abandoned. When President Obama was elected, I said, well, the one thing I think he'll do well, I think he'll be a great cheerleader for the country. I think he'd be a great spirit. He was vibrant, he was young. I really thought that he would be a great cheerleader. He's actually a negative force. He's been a negative force. He wasn't a cheerleader, he was the opposite. We need somebody that can take the brand of the United States and make it great again. You know, all of my life I've heard that a truly successful person, a really, really successful person, and even modestly successful, cannot run for public office. Just can't happen. And yet that's the kind of mindset that you need to make this country great again. So, ladies and gentlemen, am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
So for all those people who say Donald Trump could not go all the way, I don't think they're right. They didn't say he would get this far. And obviously, I don't know what the results are from last night, but Fox tried to put a stake in him, and I don't think they did.
I agree with you completely. Crazy to dismiss his chances to be the Republican nominee. When you have 17 candidates in the race, he's polling at 25% right now. He may collapse, but he may not. And you can certainly be the Republican nominee getting 25, 26, 27% of the vote. And his message is powerful, which is our leaders in Washington are incompetent. The country is falling apart. I'm going to fix it and make America great again.
Hillary Clinton would be, without a doubt, hands down, the absolute best CEO of a public company. Ruthless, profit-driven, and all about the money.
Friends, delegates, and fellow Americans, I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
He has confidence, and he's not defensive, and he doesn't accept the premise of the question, and conservatives want somebody who's going to stand up for what we believe in, and he's at least standing up for the principles. And why I think there was...
For what principle?
He's
the
not
principles
defensive?
are that there's a core competence of government that is missing. And I know that the government can work. I'm not anti-government. Republicans are anti-government. We've made New Orleans work. You made San Francisco work. Federalism works. The federal government is not working.
But if you're looking for a different kind of CEO, one to run the greatest nation on earth and bring back America, now teetering on the brink of socialism, to be president of the United States, Hillary Clinton is the worst possible choice.
USA, USA, USA.
What does it say about your party that the guy who's leading you keep saying is full of nonsense?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying it. I'm not saying it. You're saying it.
What it says about the party and what it says about Washington is people in this country have completely and totally lost trust with their leaders in Washington. Republicans have seen Republican leaders in Washington spend the country to $18 trillion in debt, abdicate their principles year after year after year, and they're angry as hell about it, and they are responding to the angriest message.
And what makes you think she cares about you? She doesn't care about you. This woman only cares about herself, money, her next step up the political ladder, and if president, will only care about her legacy. And if you don't see that from events of this past week, then you are exactly the kind of tuned-out voter that Hillary is hoping to turn out in droves in 2016.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
Well, it's quite a different scene over here. There are campaign staff that we've seen in tears. The hall has emptied out quite a bit behind me. We just saw a very surreal scene where Cher walked in, turned around, looked at the board, and walked back out.
Of course, I'm sad and disappointed, but there's still hope. Sorry.
To see that so many people are just so uneducated and small-minded.
It's disheartening. But we're going to keep going.